Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike Green. I'm one of the owners of 1A Auto. I want to help you save time and money repairing and maintaining your vehicle. I'm going to use my 20+ years experience restoring and repairing cars and trucks like this to show you the correct way to install parts from 1AAuto.com. The right parts installed correctly. That's going to save you time and money. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
In this video, we're going to show you how to do a brake job on a 2004 Dodge Stratus. The front disc brakes. This vehicle has, the brakes are in fine shape, so we just take them apart and put them back together to show you how to do it. The tools you'll need are jack and jack stands, 18 and 19 millimeter sockets. Also, you could use your lug wrench to get the lugs off on the wheel. You'll need a breaker bar or a ratchet with a pipe for some extra leverage, a T45 Torx bit, large screwdriver, and a large C-clamp.
This vehicle has hubcap. Some of them will have aluminum wheels. Just a screwdriver. Pull that cap off. These lug nuts are 19 millimeter. If you don't have air tools, you'll want to leave the wheel on the ground, loosen the lug nuts first, then raise it and secure the vehicle, and then remove the lug nuts.
Speed it up here as we remove the lug nuts and then remove the wheel and tire.
Okay, now you can inspect your brakes. Two things you want to inspect. The pads, okay, you can see here. You can see that slot right there. That's a wear indicator. These pads are fairly new on this vehicle. Okay, so we're just going to show you how to take them off, put them back on. And then your rotors, you want to check for the width of them as well as how they look. A little bit of rust scale on here, not a big deal. You also want to just take the back of your fingernail, run it up the discs, and you want to feel for any large grooves. You're going to feel a lot of small grooves like a vinyl record, but you shouldn't feel any large grooves. If you do, you want to replace the rotors. And again, it looks like on this vehicle, these brakes were done pretty recently. Okay, now to remove the calipers from the bracket, there's two bolts. There's a little dust cap back here. Okay, and you can see in here there's an Allen bolt. I actually use a T45 Torx bit. Goes right in there, and I can get a ratchet on there.
I'll speed up as I remove those two Allen bolts.
Okay, you need to take a good sized screwdriver and put it in, and depending on how worn your brakes are, this will be in a different place, but use a screwdriver and just kind of pry in here and pry out on the caliper, and that just kind of helps to loosen things up. Basically what you're doing is you're pushing this piston back into the caliper some. Pull your caliper up and off. You can see the outer pad stayed right there. The inner pad is clipped into my caliper. Okay, with a clip right there. Now I secured my caliper up here with some wire ties, and I'm going to show you if you wanted to remove and replace your rotor. The next thing you would want to do is take off this caliper bracket. Okay, to do that, you remove two large bolts, one here and one here. To remove these bolts, you're going to want an 18 millimeter socket, and I have a breaker bar here. Okay, and if you find you can't do it with that, a piece of pipe gives you even more leverage. Just slow and controlled. Okay. So if all you have is a ratchet, I recommend using the pipe. It's really no problem to get them off with just a breaker bar as well. And remove these.
Okay, and after loosening them up with your breaker bar or your ratchet with pipe, I'm just switched over to my ratchet, and I'm removing the bolts the rest of the way.
Once those 2 bolts are out, this bracket comes off. Okay, and simply enough, the rotor comes off. Okay, now if you want to replace it with a new rotor from 1A Auto, it's going to fit on there exactly as it is. You can also have your rotors machined. Okay, and again, this rotor is in fine shape, so I'm going to put it back on. You can see how it kind of falls off a little bit. I like to put a lug nut on. Just tighten it up in place. Take your bracket, put it on the rotor, the bolts in from the back side.
Fast forward as I just preliminarily tighten them by hand and then with my ratchet and socket.
Use torque wrench, 18mm socket, and torque these to 95 foot-pounds. I'm going to bring my caliper down now again. Right here like this. Okay, now if your brakes have worn, this piston will actually come out of your caliper, or it'll work its way out some. And when you use the big screwdriver, you were working the piston back in there. If you didn't get it all the way then what you want to do is use a big C-clamp. Okay, put it on your caliper. Okay, and use the clamp, and as I tighten that, it pushes the piston back in to the caliper. Okay, and you can remove the clamp. Make sure that your inner pad is all the way in. These bolts, you want to make sure that they are pushed out. Okay. Put our outer pad back on here. Okay, with your outer pad in place and your inner pad in place. Okay, make sure start pushing this down on. Okay, this retainer should go in there. Pull it out and down. Push the top in and down.
Okay, now you just kind of push on the caliper a little bit, start the bolts in clockwise, put some pressure on them, and they'll go in.
And you want to use a torque wrench, tighten these between 15 and 17 foot-pounds.
Now replace the dust caps over those bolts. Fast forward here as I straighten the wheel, then remove that one lug nut that I had put on, install the wheel and tire again, thread the lug nuts on first by hand, then preliminarily tighten them with my impact wrench, and then I'll put the vehicle down on the ground and torque them.
Now you want to torque these lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds.
And speed up again here, torque them again to 100 foot-pounds and kind of draw a star pattern as you're torquing them, and then reinstall your hubcap. Make sure the brakes are working before you drive it, pump them up, do a stop from 5 miles an hour and 10 miles an hour before you take it out on the road. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.